What's up, Warriors of Goku? Welcome back to some more Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. And here we are. We are finally here to show off this character. My very first female character in Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires now come up to Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires with a much more likable look, I will say. This is Sinon, the most mightiest warrior in the land. And also a very caring wife and mother as well. So yes, like I said, she's close to it, if not the very first female character that I ever made in Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires and onward. So I'm saying Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires. I know you can make characters in 4 and 5 and all that stuff, but this is where I officially started like actually caring about making characters and everything, maybe doing like little story here and there when I was a kid. And now here we are, finally, to show off this character, because I know I've mentioned her so many times that she was going to get a video, and it is now finally time to happen. So I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. Normally I would just show the portrait, or if you're referring to Fanlore Friday, I would show the ID card and just do the backstory and then do a showcase of that, of them kicking ass. But I thought, you know what, make this a little bit different. If you guys do like how this is going to end up, then let me know. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be having her kick ass in the background while also giving the backstory as well. So that way you don't have to be just staring at a picture 24/7. I might end up changing that as well, maybe for Fanlore Friday. I'm not 100% certain. We're pretty close to ending Fanlore Friday anyway, so I might not change that stuff. But at least for these videos, I'm probably going to be showing them kick ass in the background while also giving their backstory. Especially if their backstory is short, might as well just keep going with the rest of their showcase of them kicking ass, with me probably not doing commentary in the background. And after all that is said and done, and there you go. That is pretty much how we might be doing it here. So if you guys do prefer that for at least my character's backstories and everything, then be sure to let me know in those comments down below. So guys, it is officially time to start up Sinon's backstory. So guys, if you do enjoy checking out the backstory and as well seeing her kick ass, because it's the mighty Sinon, one of my physically strongest characters next to her daughter Shine, she is the strongest character in my story. 100% physically, not like in terms of like crazy powers or mystical powers or demon powers or any of that. As a pure human, she is the most physically strongest person. She can split hills. Split hills. That's how strong she is if she actually does give full power. It's incredible. And that's why I love her so much. She's so physically strong, great mother, and all that stuff. But enough about all that. You'll be hearing more in detail of her, of how she was being brought up as a child, and into the point where she ends up being with Chinusuke, which is another character I will show off eventually as well, but that's her husband, just so you know. But yeah, so we're going to be going into that, and then pretty much know almost everything else from there. But I'll give more detail after the backstory is finished. So yeah. So guys, I hope you do enjoy the backstory, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Years before the start of war and bloodshed between the humans and the Kaijima, humans almost completely covered the popularity of the Origin realm. The Emperor and the rulers of each region lived in harmony amongst one another. There are still those within this peace that still found misfortune, however. A girl in particular that goes by the name Sinon. Sinon was orphaned at a very young age, already at a low status in terms of lifestyle. Sinon could only live by herself in the shack of a home that her family lived in. Sinon herself would have to give her family a proper funeral, by herself, with no one else to mourn for them but her. Sinon knew though, she knew how her parents would feel if she just quit on herself and life. So Sinon made the strong move to keep on living for their sake. It wasn't easy, but she began farming on her own, working out, exercising, training, trading with merchants, hunting, anything the little girl had to do in order to have a healthy living for herself. Due to her family's passing, however, the only thing Sinon couldn't seem to find again was her smile and happiness. Years go by, and even Sinon can't remember the time she truly felt any joy. She earned a decent living, sure, but being by herself for years, not making any friends, it only made her feel lonely. Yet also a little cold towards others, mostly because she had absolutely no social skills, and when was around people, she got annoyed very easily. But then, when Sinon turned 19 years of age, her life made a huge twist. The Kaijima Rebellion had begun. Fed up with their treatment, they started to attack humans to make a statement. On Sinon's way back from a trade, she spotted a notice for anyone who is capable of wielding a weapon, and the reward for their work. Sinon was blown away by how much money she could make, enough to hold her over for the foreseeable future. There wasn't a single second thought in her head. Sinon was going to take part in this war. She used some of the money she had been saving up to equip herself for battle, a cheap armor set, but a very nice quality of duck hooks. From there, Sinon would join the volunteer force. That's what they were called, at least. In the eyes of most Imperials, though, the front-line cannon fodder and meat shields. Sinon knew how the Imperials worked. But in both ways, in her mind, it's a win-win scenario for her. If she were able to make it out of this battle alive, she would be able to claim the reward for volunteering. The other scenario is, she could die happily, knowing she made a mark, knowing she could be reunited with her parents once again in the afterlife. Her hopes were not to just stand out. You could see the frightened humans in Nunsu that were afraid to go up against their stronger adversaries. Sinon's goal was to bring hope and bravery to all the humans in Nunsu, and strike fear into the hearts of the Kaijima. Battle after battle, Sinon did just that. He brought hope and courage to those in doubt and fear, and frightened even the toughest of Kaijima. She was like a demon in her own right. This demon girl did eventually find her soft side, though. She ran into another 19-year-old, went by the name Chinusuke. He was the son of Chen, who ruled over the Heiwa army. Things were rocky at first when Chinusuke introduced himself to Sinon, but time after time, they found themselves by one another in battle, and even at camp. Sinon never felt affection before, so she was cautious at first, but then, you could feel her heart finally soften. And thanks to Chinusuke, she could finally feel joy again, and at last, find her smile again. It wasn't long then, with her newfound strength, happiness, and drive, that Sinon became one of the most ferocious warriors on the battlefield. Her goal was no longer to just earn money or die a warrior's death. It was now to protect the one she loved. For Chinusuke, Sinon truly would battle like a demon to ensure they both lived happy lives together. Alright guys, so that is the end of Sinon's backstory. Let me just say real quick, you have no idea how many times I had to retake that simply because I accidentally said Shine instead of Sinon. Blew my mind. But yeah, guys, so that is the end of Sinon's backstory. So just to go a little bit more in depth. So after the fact with, so this is me off script, so if I start stuttering or just being my same idiot, goofy self, then you'll know why. But so after the fact with the whole battle and everything with the Kaijima and all that stuff, obviously Chinusuke and Sinon end up becoming married and everything like that. And then I'm going to put this in comedical terms since we're off script now. Chinusuke banged her four times. I was about to say twice, but 4 times, and got 4 children out of it. So who are these children? I'll go from oldest to youngest here. So the oldest one being Chen Shun, who I will show off in another video as well. He'll probably just get a regular old showcase video because he doesn't really have any like in-depth backstory or anything like that. So it's kind of going to be like just a Shine video. I'll show some significance with the character, which has a lot of significance actually, since he's one of the main 5 characters of part 1 of my story. And then we have Shine, who is the eldest sister. And then we have Chenrika, who is the middle sister. And then we have Sine, who is the younger sister. So if you guys do notice, I don't know, I think they were in this because I recorded the battle of this way in advance of this actual video. So, because I was preparing it, but I never actually ended up making the story and everything yet. Also, let me just give a quick shout out. I'm going to keep going, but I really want to give a quick, big shout out to Element of Arcane for making a theme for Sinon. So if the music you're hearing right now in the background, that is Sinon's theme right now. Whether or not it's going to be tweaked a little bit later on in the future, personally, I don't see any reason to tweak it right now. I think I love it to death. So Element of Arcane, thank you very much, dude. I loved I love the theme song for Sinon a lot. So thank you very much for taking your time to do that for me. And so back on track. So what I was mentioning. So I want to mention this really quick. So I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if all of them are in here. I'm pretty sure all her children are in this battle right now. So if they are, you can tell they all have different kinds of ponytails. So obviously Sinon has just the ponytail where it starts at the top of her head, kind of like the back top, and then it just goes down from there. So for Shine, it's kind of the same. I wanted to make her daughters pretty much kind of have the same kind of vibe because they look up to Sinon a lot, obviously because she's the mother and everything, but just also because she is a very inspiring warrior as well, which they all inspire to be as well. So yeah, so Shine has one just from the back of her head, like the straight back of her head and down to make a long ponytail. Genrika kind of has the same thing going on as Sinon, except hers is a lot more bushier and her bangs are a little bit different. And then Sine, who I'm not really hot on the design right now. I know there's a really, really short ponytail, and I might go back to that one, but I wanted to try to make her a little bit different. But now that I look at it, I'm probably going to have her go back to the hairstyle that's similar to Shine's, where it's just a ponytail in the very far back, but it's incredibly short. So I know they have one like that. That was originally part of Sine's design, but I ended up changing it, so I'll probably end up changing it back, because I actually like that design more than the twin tails / pigtails, whatever the hell you want to call them. But yeah. So she's a very, very kind mother to all of the children. She has a little bit more of a closer relationship to Sinon, especially since she has a lot more similarities in terms of combat style and everything like that Sinon does. So Sinon's obviously going to be training her a lot more than the other children. So they're going to be having this more closer connection than her and the other children. By no means is she playing favorites. She sees the strength that Sinon has, and she wants to make sure like Sinon doesn't abuse that power and absolutely like accidentally kill someone or something like that. Because they are hill-shattering strength. That is what it is. It's hill-shattering strength. Like, not crushing, not anything like that. She shatters that shit with her, like, her max power. That's how strong Sinon and Sinon can both be. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love it, because I wanted to be a little bit crazy with these two characters. Like, Sinon is going to be the... I guess in some ways, I can relate Sinon to Guan Yin Ping. In no way, because Guan Yin Ping was actually, like, not really that hot with me at the moment. But, and I didn't really know much about Guan Yin Ping at the time, but I decided to make Sinon just like a really strong, not an airhead, like she can be at times, but she is also very self-aware and everything like that. And she's she's also very smart and everything, but unlike Guan Yin Ping, I'm not going to lie. And she also has a lot of heart, but at times I do see some of the similarities, but I don't think Guan Yin Ping can shatter. Like, I know she can pick up a giant rock from the earth and slam it down with ease, but I don't know if she's like has hill-shattering strength. So I don't know. But I do see some kind of similarities there. But with that aside, so eventually Light does end up becoming, like, of course, as you all know, he does end up becoming married. If you did watch the Sinon video, you know those two end up becoming in an arranged marriage. And so Light, after that, eventually ends up going off on his own north to make his own army and all that stuff. So for the sake of Sinon and being cautious of Light, because even though Sinon does like Light, she's very cautious with him because she also wants to make sure that Sinon does not get hurt in any single way by Light. So what she does, she ends up, with Chinusuke still staying there along with the rest of the family, Sinon ends up going with Sinon and Light to become their personal bodyguard. And she ends up just trying to figure out, like, if Light will eventually stay faithful to Sinon. Because, of course, she also does notice the relationship Light has with Harna and everything like that. So she wants to be as cautious as possible without trying to, like, arouse too much suspicion. Like, the reason why I'm following you is because I don't want you to fuck with my daughter. Like, you can fuck her, but don't fuck with her, is what she's trying to say, even though she's very reluctant to like actually say, like, fuck my daughter. Like, no, that the arranged marriage was enough for Sinon, because it even insulted her that Chinusuke and Light's father Azura would even think about doing that with those two, especially with Sinon. So with all that being said, she does end up having a very strong bond later on with Light, because at least for the first part of the story, Light's mother is gone. Like, she's gone. Like, completely gone. We have no idea what happened after the fire and everything that happened with Light's backstory. And I'll link all of the, or I'll put a playlist of all the backstories and everything at the end of this video. So don't worry about that. So she does end up becoming that really much needed mother figure that Light really didn't have for the longest time. So throughout, pretty much as soon as she ends up trusting Light completely, she ends up being a lot closer to Light and ends up being a very strong rock for him, especially when Sinon ends up inevitably, like, you know, passing on. I mentioned that as well in the backstory for Sinon 2. Sinon does end up passing on in a bit and stuff, and Sinon actually ends up becoming that very strong rock that Light needs as well in order to get through this, along with Harna, of course, as well. And the thing I like actually mentioning Harna, Sinon, I've decided to give, like, and this was probably when I first created Harna, I give this kind of, like, vibe or thing with Harna as well, or Sinon pretty much becomes the mother figure for Light, Harna, and Sinon. Obviously Sinon, but for those three in particular, she ends up being the mother for all three of them. So technically, even though Sinon does end up passing on and Harna and Light end up becoming together before Sinon ends up coming back, so Sinon ends up becoming that much-needed mother figure that Harna never had, and ends up being a great mother figure for her as well. So she ends up having this really jokingly, like it's also kind of aggressive relationship towards Harna. So those two end up, like, butting heads with one another a bunch of times, but obviously Sinon ends up at times kicking her ass. Jokingly, of course. Their relationship is very humorous, is what I like to give comic relief with their relationship. But at times I do make it serious to the points where, like, oh, fuck, this is, like, actually serious. Like, they're trying to be, like, a very close mother-daughter kind of thing right now. So I really do like so Sinon really is, like, a very strong character for that as well. So all in all, Sinon has been a very, very amazing character to me. She, like I said, she was one of the very first female characters that I ever made in a Dynasty game. Yeah, actually, yeah, in a Dynasty game, because at the time, when I was younger, I didn't really care about making female characters, but now that I see the significance of, like, making the story and everything, and I do adore Sinon to death. Like I said, she was one of my very first characters, female characters ever. And she was close to being one of the very first as well when I actually started caring about characters and all that. But, yeah, with that being said, she, also, and fun fact as well, for those of you who are unaware, of Sword Art Online, that is where I got the name from. That was my big inspiration from the character Sinon, or technically in Gun Gale Online. But so that's how long ago this was when I made Sinon. So when I made my Sinon, I took the name from that Sinon, which is possibly one of my favorite anime girls of all time. So I put it with this girl and decided to just roll with it ever since. And I love my Sinon to death because of that. So that was another really cool thing as well, which I thought I should bring up. But all right, guys, so that is going to be the end of the video. So, guys, I hope you all did enjoy a little bit more of detail after the backstory, and, of course, the backstory as well. And, of course, the showcase for kicking all that ass and stuff. I'll probably have to do some additional gameplay because I think the battle was only, like, 11 minutes long, so I think I had to do a little bit more than that. But nonetheless, guys, I hope you all did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. Smash it as hard as possible because this one was long overdue, and I'm so glad I was able to go a little bit more in depth even after the backstory and everything like that. So I hope you all did enjoy it. And, of course, if you have any thoughts on the character, good or bad, be sure to put it down in those comments down below. And, of course, if you're new to the channel and you like the content that you see, you better be sure to hit that sub button because y'all been crushing that goal. Crushing it. All right, voice cracked a little bit there, not going to lie. But be sure to do that. So thank you guys very much for hitting that sub button. Much appreciated. So with all that being said, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you all did as well. And I'll see you all in the next video. Farewell.